Good afternoon, this is Ivan Amara. Hope you guys did my show I made earlier today. Yeah. Your book is sick. What's a masterpiece, man? I did a little bit of polishing up of the prologue today. I can show you maybe a small little snippet of what I polished up today. Well, you guys never read the scene anyway. It's a new scene. I can show you one more new scene in the prologue. But the prologue, I spoiled pretty much a lot of it for you because it's short. And I showed you all the big scenes. Obviously, the prologue is pretty much spoiled for you guys, right? But the rest of volume 1 and 2, I spoiled maybe 35% of it. 40% of it I spoiled. But the other 60% you don't know, obviously. I'm not going to show you everything. I won't spoil, so you're pushing my book, right? He's Ivan, I love your book. My book is sick, man. It's a masterpiece, man. Yeah, man. I mean, everything you show us, we're just hooked, entertained. Yeah, Xanus is a masterpiece. You're going to be hooked for hours. Turning the page when you read it, man. It's a masterpiece. There's a reason why the gates went to control. There's a reason why my stepmother told me it's number 1. When they read sections of my book, when they hacked my laptop, they were shocked, obviously, by how good it was. There was something special and unique about Ivan's story that we don't get for our books and our business, but publishing industry business. Yeah. Because Ivan's father gave, you'll finally hit their minds, yeah, Ivan's father gave him the heavenly gift. Yeah, he did. My father gave me the heavenly gift. That's why my book is unique, obviously. My story's so entertaining and you're just hooked for hours turning the page. It's crazy, man. As you guys are going to binge read my book. You're either going to binge the whole book in one day, or you might binge 2 volumes in one day, and then you finish volume 3 the second day, or you binge a volume a day, right? But Xanus is so interesting, you can binge read the whole thing in one day, man. Like all 800 pages, you're going to binge, man. How long is your novel, Ivan? 800 plus pages. According to Google, it's 800. If you a 200,000 word novel is an 800 plus page book. Obviously, but I am adding a little bit of stuff, and I'm now at 220. I'm now at what? 201,000 words, because I've been tweaking a few things in the book. Like today, I tweaked a few things in the prologue with the eagles dropping the note. I can show you guys that scene. Is that one of your big scenes, Ivan? No, it's not. Not one of my big scenes in my book, but it's still entertaining enough to keep you hooked because my book's a masterpiece, man. You're just hooked for hours. You know. During the pages, a masterpiece, man. What's the worst chapter in your book, Ivan? The prologue. Prologue is the worst. Because it's just a prologue, right? Duh, yeah. But the absolute worst chapters, like excluding the prologue, probably Young Tactics is the weakest chapter out of all my chapters. Though when you guys read Young Tactics, were you still hooked? Yeah, we're still hooked. Yeah, and yet it's arguably the weakest chapter. It is the weakest chapter in my whole book, the Young Tactics, right? Because it's just tactics when he's a kid. So like, it's an entertaining chapter, but it's probably the weakest one. As you guys probably caught when I showed you the first 6 pages a couple months ago, last year. Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining, but you can tell, yeah, it's the weakest one. And don't forget, when I wrote on Tactics, I was in the hospital. When I was in the hospital, I was very depressed. I was depressed and everything. And so while I was writing Depressed in the Hospital, I wrote Young Tactics in the prologue. That's why those are the 2 worst ones, because I was very depressed when I was in the hospital. I didn't like being there, man. I felt like I was in prison, man. Yeah, man. I was in the hospital for 40 days. 40 fucking days. I stayed there for a good month and a week. And finally they let me go, obviously. Because I was a good guy. I was a good boy. Yeah, Ivan, you're a good boy. You're behaving. You'll be out of here tomorrow. I remember my stepmother came. She picked me up from work. From the hospital. And I came home and it was very weird seeing my room and sleeping in my bed. Because I've been away for a month. So it took me 3 days to get 3-4 days to get used to being home again. Because I was gone for like a month plus, man. A month is a long time, right? I stayed in a hospital for 40 days, man. Yeah. I never want to go back there again, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. All right, if you sold out, would you be a full time author or a movie star? I'd probably be doing both. As guaranteed, Peg and House would sign me to like a series. They want me to write. All right, we want you to write like your own series. Obviously, a series or something like that, a romance series or a fantasy series, whatever you want to write, Ivan, you can write it. But they're gonna dupe me and take all my billions and give me the peanuts, man. When you're only making that money because of my keys and you're taking advantage of my gifts, obviously. But I'm the kind of writer whereby like my book is so special. The editors in the book publishing industry might be scared to touch my story. Yeah, we don't have to have the like Ivan. If we edit his book, the characters won't jump on a page where we can ruin his story. Yeah, that's how special of a writer I am. That's why I don't want anyone touching my story. I don't want these earthly people touching my heavenly story. Because Ivan, if you sell, the publishing houses now own your book, Ivan. Because you sold to the gates. Yes, you'll be famous. You'll be on Jimmy Fallon show and everything. You'll be doing magazines and book signing sessions in Hollywood. You're featuring red card events with VJ for your movies and everything, but like you and VJ are garbage and trash. You're sharing with the world, and VJ sees hell, and the gates are going to give you like $30 million of the money. I dupe you. But we're lucky to get 10, 20, $30 million of the money. Ivan, you happy you made $30 million working my whoa man, where's the rest of the money? Ivan, what do you mean? Like we have bills to pay, like the companies have to get paid, Ivan. They have bills to pay. Yeah, they dupe me, man. So compare the $30 million you're gonna make off selling to the gates, Ivan, even though you're famous about a guy and your VJ's life's destroyed, to the what? To the $22 billion you're gonna make off your book, man. It's a huge difference, right? Because you can sell the gates, Ivan, they can't touch your money. You can now make your billions. They can't dupe you. That's why God gave me the keys. Well, they don't dupe me, right? Yeah. Ivan, is a prologue, even though the prologue is the worst chapter in your book, is it entertaining? Yes, as you guys read. Yeah, it's still entertaining. It's an entertaining prologue, but it's not as good as the other chapters, but it's still entertaining enough to keep you hooked during the page. Like it'll finally hit your mind, you read the prologue, you're hooked. Holy shit, that's the prologue? And that's the worst chapter in Ivan's book. Holy shit, man, I can't believe, man, this book is sick. Then you read Young Tactius, you're hooked, read Young Tactius, and you read 20 years later and you're really hooked. Arguably the best chapter in volume 1. You read What Was Cyrus House of More, you're hooked there too. That's an amazing chapter 2. And you read It's Search for the Prince, an amazing chapter. Arguably the best one in volume 1. Yeah. And you read volume 2, Lithia, you're hooked. And you read Captured, you're hooked. Obviously. You read Tactics or Colonius, you're hooked. You read Latin Chaos. And you read Axis of Sapphis and you're hooked. And you're like, holy shit, this book is sick, man. And you read volume 3 and you're blown away by the plot, obviously. I almost pulled so for you. Yeah. I'll show you one more new scene from the prologue, guys. Just the prologue, not the chapters, the prologue. Obviously, but that's it. Because I don't want to spoil the story for you guys, right? I already spoiled like 40% of volume 1 for you guys, right? volume 1 and 2. 37% I spoiled, man. Quite a bit of it. That's why I don't want to show you guys anymore, right? I'm not showing you why I'm not supposed to show you guys. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. Would the gatekeepers turn your brand into a movie? Of course they will. They're gonna let me know. Yeah, we'll turn your book into a movie. We can have you be our star for the movie, Ivan. But yeah. Even if I'm the star of the movie, Hollywood will probably pay me like $5 million for the movie. They're gonna dupe you, man. And the gate's gonna tell him, yeah, don't give Ivan like 500 million royalties. Don't do that. No, give him like pay him like $6 million for the movie, and that's it. Don't give him royalties. You're gonna tell them that. I try my very best to negotiate for big contracts, and I can't because the gates are guarding all the door of my career, like they do VJ. VJ obviously is trying. VJ's dream is obviously to be in a big budget movie, but because the gates lock the doors on her, she's never gonna be in a big budget movie. That's why when she auditions, I'm pretty sure Victoria Justice auditioned for some roles for big budget movies, but she didn't get the part. Yeah, they know she's God and she's bigger than all Hollywood actors, and she has a keys, and she doesn't get the part because the gates are guarding all doors in her career. They're gonna do people like him. Yeah, man. And Hollywood will make my movie for maybe $350 million. And Peter Jackson might be chosen to direct it, but Hall will pay Peter maybe $50 million for the movie, and Peter will be lucky to get 60, 70, 80 million in royalties around it for the movie. Hollywood would pay Peter Jackson more than you, White, for the movie. They're gonna dupe you, man. As all these Hollywood actors are making way more money than Victoria Justice. Victoria Justice is much bigger than all those guys. She's God, she has the keys. She just got duped by the gates. That's why she cries to me to get her out. But she needs my help, obviously. Victoria Justice, she needs my help. Obviously, BG needs my help, obviously. That's why she's crazy and she cries to me. Yeah, I need your help. I need you to get me out. I want a piece of your blade. It's not your book. Yeah, she's crazy, that woman. Yeah. Samsara. I don't want anyone touching my Xanus story. It's a special story. I don't want anyone touching that, man. I want to have full creative control over my brand. I don't want anyone touching my story. They can ruin my story, man. Obviously. Yeah. So Hollywood wouldn't give you full power over your brand. No, they won't, man. They're not going to give you. Yeah, you don't have full power over the brand. You sold it. You sold the rights to your brand. We own it now. And they now have that power control over my Xanus brand. They can ruin your story. I'm not saying they can't make a masterpiece. They can. They can also ruin your story. And they might have Airtime be a PG-13 being. Like, they can ruin your story, Ivan. That's why I don't want any of the Hollywood companies touching my story. They can ruin my story. Don't hate me, guys. I'm saying, yeah. Sarah? And Xanus will probably beat the box office record in Hollywood. It'll probably make like $3 billion, something crazy. Or the gates could sabotage my stats. Like they do with VJ, obviously, right? Yeah, but they're going to dupe you, Ivan, if you sell. That's why I came with the keys. They don't dupe me. They're greedy pigs, Ivan. They're not going to let you make the billions, the gates, man. They haven't had me, man. No, like, they'll let you be worth maybe your $60 million. Like 50 years go by, it means you're only worth like $50 million in Hollywood. Because the companies are paying us shitty contracts, obviously. Shitty contracts for our status, right? That's my point, right? As you make $6 million for a movie, that's a lot of money. But for Ivan O'Mara, like, you're ripping him off. Ivan's worth his billions for each contract. You know, Ivan's so big we can't afford. Like, Ivan's worth his billions. Yeah, Ivan and VJ are worth their billions for their movie contracts. Not hundreds of millions and millions. No, billions. The Gates know it. That's why they want me to sell. That way I don't make my billions off my as a movie star. I make like $5 million off each movie. And 50 years ago, by you meet your Sharon's world in Hollywood, obviously, and you're only worth like $50 million. I mean, that's for 50 years. The Gates duped you, man. Taking all those billions while they're already making all those $100 million every year and giving you the peanuts. That's why I came with the keys, the way they don't do me. I can make my billions, man. Make like 30 billion, 50 billion on a movie merchant game. Got some Sarah? Yeah. Yeah. Take a shower after this. Yeah. So even the prologue, we're going to be hooked. Yes, as you guys read, right? Were you guys still hooked when I showed you snippets of the prologue? Yeah, we were hooked. Yeah, even the prologue is entertaining shit. But it's not as good as the other chapters, but it's still entertaining enough to keep you hooked. Where you're like, holy shit, man, like that's the worst chapter in Ivan's book, and I was fucking entertained by that chapter. And this is just a prologue. Holy shit, man, this book is sick. And before you know it, you binge read the book in like 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. You binge read the whole book, man. And you're like, oh my god, the book's already done. Yeah, the reason why it went by so fast, guys, is because you were hooked for hours. I know how to control your mind and keep you hooked and have you turn the page for hours. I'm a genius, obviously. Yeah. That's what the Gates went to my brand, because they know I wrote a masterpiece. Yeah, I even wrote a masterpiece that's better than Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter. We want to control that, man. We don't want Ivan making his billions to be successful. Yeah, they don't want me being successful in this world. Obviously. Because they opened the door for everyone's success in the world. You know, Ivan has the keys that he doesn't have to sell to us. His keys is the ticket to his success. Yes, the keys is the ticket to my success, obviously. That's what God gave me the keys. That way I can make my billions and be successful. And the Gates don't do me, man. I control my money too. You have to open your door, Ivan, if you want to control your money. Otherwise, you have to sell to a gatekeeper. That's why God gave me the keys. That way I can make my billions in my book and I can control my brand. The Gates don't do me, man. That's why I came with the keys, man. They don't do me. I'll show you the scene. My book. I worked on it today. Before I made this video, I did a bit of polishing up in the prologue. Are you done your book, Ivan? Yeah, I'm done, but I'm just going over a few sections if I want to, and just like polishing up a few things, right? Tweaking a few things here and there, but I mean, this is a new scene. You guys did not read the scene. This is a scene with the Eagles. And that's it. I'm not showing you guys a new scene because I don't want to spoil the story for you. But the prologue, I can spoil a little bit for you. It's not really the main plot of the story, but I mean, I did pretty much spoil like the whole prologue for you guys, right? Not all of it, but you guys already know what's going on with the prologue, obviously. Yeah. Your book is sick, man. I know that my book is sick, I'm saying. The thing's gonna pop up, so I'm gonna get my stepfather to install the antivirus. I think he's popping up on my laptop. It's annoying, man. Yeah, see? Yeah. And when you read this, guys, you're going to be hooked again because my book is sick, man. It's constant entertainment when you read it, man. It's a masterpiece, man. This is money. Yeah. Yo, Ivan's a successful author. And like he wrote a masterpiece, he also made his billions off it. Yeah, I happened to write a masterpiece and I made like so much money off it. Like my 20 like 2 billion off the book, something crazy. Yeah. There's a shift up for grabs tomorrow from 5. I can't work anymore because if Welfare Quebec finds out I made more money, they might lower my amount. So I can just stick. I have to stick to just one shift a week, right? Otherwise, they can lower my amounts. Welfare. So I have to let them know if I make more money. I have to let them know, man. Yeah. All right. Let's go my file. I'll show the scene in prologue, and then we I love you, man. My book is sick. I'm saying. Yeah. All right. This is the scene with Job and the Eagles, right? You guys know what's going on with the Eagles when Tactius told them to deliver the message in the south. The Sapphics, yeah, that's the scene. You guys did not read. Let's see. When I paused a little bit of this section here. Okay. I'm going to skip the Aratat part. I don't want you reading that. Okay. Okay, you read this. When you read this, you're going to be hooked again, guys. My book is sick. I'll see. You can read that. This is a new scene you guys not read yet. It's with the Eagles. And after this, I'm not showing you guys anymore. I won't spoil the story for you, right? Keep reading. Ugh. These pop-ups, man. Oh my god. I have to get the antivirus on my computer, man. Keep reading. Is this one of the most entertaining scenes? Oh, not at all, man. But it's still entertaining enough to keep you hooked, right? Because my book is sick, man. It's a masterpiece, man. Yeah, man. And that's it, guys. I'm not showing you guys any new scenes. I already spoiled like 40% of volume 1 and 2 for you guys. That's it. I don't want to show you any more. And this is where you get introduced to Nelii, who's a noble, Cornelius' father. Yeah. I'm not going to show you the whole scene, though, right? He knows how the Saladins know of the fear of the wolves and the wild animals and the crows. Yeah, they have that fear, obviously. I'll show you a bit more, and that's it. This scene here. Yeah, I'll show you the scene here, and that's it. Yeah, you read that, and that's it. Ivan, what's the one chapter whereby you spoiled the majority of it? The prologue. Like the prologue, I pretty much spoiled like it for you guys. Not all of it, but like you guys read like all like the big scenes pretty much, right? I can show you the scene with Tactius. I skipped a bit of the scene that you guys read. Okay. I can show you a bit of this scene, and that's it. Takis has the fear of Aratat. I won't spoil so for you. We can read this here. And that's it, guys. I won't show you anymore, because I spoiled, like I don't know, like 60% of the plot for you guys, right? But the other chapters, I spoiled maybe 37% of it, 40% of it I spoiled. So I skipped a bit of the scene that you guys just read when they forged Taki, so I skipped that. And this is the next scene after that. Obviously, the prologue is my worst chapter, guys, when you read it, right? Pause and read that. And I'll show you the next scene when Taki's just trading at the city's edge, and that's it. I'll show you more, right? Yeah, I'll show you the scene, that's it, guys. Yeah. Why does Taki say shelter me if I know what I'm on his face? Because he knows what he's facing. That's a devil, man. What does that mean? You have to read the book to understand it. I won't spoil it. That's why I'm looking at Matthew. Here's this is Lord of the Rings. Nobody's Lord of the Rings. It's Matthew's my book. Yeah. And I could show you the next scene, but so I'm giving you a heads up, guys. The prologue, I pretty much spoiled like a lot of it for you. But the other chapters, I only gave you glimpses of it, right? I still spoiled a little bit for you, obviously. I want to show you the scene because I'm going to spoil too much of the prologue. It's an amazing scene. It's not an entertaining scene in my book, but it's up there. It's entertaining enough to keep you hooked, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, I can show you this scene and that's it. Because I already spoiled a good chunk of the prologue for you guys, man. That's why, you know what I'm saying? Show you this scene here. It's a continuation of the prologue. The prologue is really your worst chapter. Yes, it is. It's the worst chapter in the entire book. Yet you're still entertaining enough. You're still entertaining enough, right? Yeah, it's still entertaining enough to keep you hooked, obviously. Yeah. And that's it, guys. I'm not showing you any more after this. Because I'm spoiling like 40% of volume 1, 2 for you guys, right? Read that. I think I'm going to stop there. A bit more. And I'll stop here, guys. And that's it. Read that. Alright, your book is second out. What's the Masters, man? And that's it, guys. I'm not showing you anymore because I already spoiled a good chunk of the prologue. I spoiled like 60% of it for you guys. I don't know, 65% of it I spoiled for you guys. So when you guys read it, you have an idea. I even spoiled it a little bit for us. Yeah, I did. But the rest of Volume 1 and 2, I spoiled like maybe 40% of it, but the other 60% you don't know. And in Volume 3, you guys don't know shit because I didn't show you Volume 3, obviously. Volume 3, I'm not touching. I'm not showing you anything. Otherwise, I'm going to spoil the whole story for you guys, right? Yeah. Alright, your book is sick, I know. Tactius II already given the gift of weaponry. Your book is sick, I know. Obviously. Shelter me, for I know what I must face. Whose Taki is praying to? You'll see that when you read the book. I almost pulled Sophie, right? That's why you do get biblicism with Xanus, obviously, a little bit. It's kind of like the Bible in a way, right? I almost pulled Sophie. And I know, is that one of your most irritating scenes in your book? No, it's not. As the prologue is my weakest chapter, guys, in my book when you read it. But yet it's still entertaining enough to keep you hooked, right? It's still an entertaining chapter, but it's one of my weaker ones, obviously. You know. When you read that, you're going to be hooked again. Dude, my book is sick, man. Yeah, I mean, your book is sick, I know. This is funny. Yeah, it's an amazing book, man. I know how you guys feel, man. I have the exact same reaction when I read my book. I laugh, I'm hooked. I'm like, man, I can't believe I wrote this. This is a masterpiece, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, and they sound like characters in the movie, I know. Even the eagles jump on the page when you read it, right? Yeah. Why the eagles say quickly, like, you know what I'm saying, tell the southern quickly? Because the eagles know they're not safe. They're not safe in Eratet's kingdom. They're intruders. The eagles are from the north. They're of the north. They're not of the south. They're on the human side, the Xanian side, right? And they're good, the eagles, whereas the crows are evil, obviously. That's why Job was like, beings from the north, what are you doing here? He's like, then the eagle's like, tell the southern quickly. Well, we're not safe here. Yeah, they're not safe there, obviously. They have to get out of there, man. It's not safe in the south. He was all right, man. Like, this is Bear of Rings. Nobody's Bear of Rings, man. I'll choose my book. My story, right? Yeah. And that's it, guys. I already spoiled enough of the book for you. I can't show you any more new scenes. Those are the only scenes you're getting. I went to the prologue for a reason, because the prologue, even if I spoiled it before you, it's not really that big of a deal, because it's not really the main plot of the story. It's just a prologue. But the other chapters I can't show anymore, man. Otherwise I'm going to spoil the story for you guys, right? Yeah. Oh, your book is like, oh, my book is a masterpiece, man. Masterpiece. You know. Already given a gift of weaponry. So, oh, your book is sick, I know. Yeah, man, like, it's so beautifully written, I know. It's simple, but it's beautifully written, Ivan. And the characters jump on the page like a movie, I know. They jump on the page like a movie when you read my book, man. It's a masterpiece, man. Yeah, man, that's why the gates want to control it, right? They know I wrote a masterpiece. You know. Xanus is money, man. Yeah, man. And that's it, guys. No more. I can't show you any more scenes, obviously. Yeah. Ivan, you are talented. Yes, I am. I'm gifted, obviously. Ivan, you bluffing? Did you really write that, Ivan? Yeah, I did, guys. I'm not lying to you. I wrote it. I wrote it, obviously. Ivan, why do you always mention Tactius is happy, but like there's a sense of sadness seen in him? Well, you have to read the story to understand. I won't spoil the story for you. You have to read the chapter, the plot to understand. But he says, shelter me, for I know what I must face, obviously. He knows what he's facing. Eratet, the Devil Wolf King, right? Do all the humans fear Eratet? Yeah, they do. They're brave, but they have a bit of a fear for him, obviously. He's a devil, and he's very powerful, too. He's a devil, Eratet. That's why the attack is he's trading, and he says, like, shelter me, for I know what I must face, obviously. That's why I think the Shelter Him song is amazing for my movie. You guys from Sarah? Shelter him, Lords. Shelter him. Look at a sick movie. Yeah. Because, all right, that's a good song. I know people relax. You nerd here. Calm down. Yeah. Yeah. lie, man. That's not normal, man. There's something special about your book, man. It's just like we get a different feeling when we read it, Ivan. How do you do that, Ivan? Yeah, it's my father, guys. I have the heavenly gift. Look, but Ivan, seriously, man. Like I read these other books, they're masterpieces, but like they feel like regular, dry, and normal. Richer speech and dollar in it, but it's more regular and normal. The characters don't jump on a page like a movie. And when I read your book, they jump on a page like a movie, Ivan. In our heads, man. How the fuck do you do that? It's my father doing the magic, guys. That's the only answer I can give you, right? I have the heavenly gift. If God were to write a book, it'd obviously be a special book, right? Duh, yeah. And I guarantee you, that's a sentence in the Bible where it says, men of God were moved by the Holy Spirit to pen down the scriptures. Yeah. The scriptures is God breathed, as Paul says in the. Is it Paul who says that? Or is it Timothy or John? I don't remember. But in the New Testament, there's a passage that says the scriptures are God breathed. Men who wrote the Bible were moved by the Holy Spirit. I guarantee you it's the symbolism of Ivan. Ivan's book is like God breathed. Like Ivan's father is doing the magic through his writing. Yeah. My father is the one doing the magic through my writing. That's why my book is so unique and special. And you guys are hooked and you're entertained by the story, obviously, and the characters, and the world building. Got some Sarah? Yeah. Yeah. So the eagles are called the Watchers. Yes, as you guys read, right? Watchers of the North to hear your king. And Job says the Watchers, obviously. I mentioned the Watchers in that passage. The eagles are the Watchers of the North. And Aratat's scrolls are the spies of the South. So you have the spies of the South and you have the Watchers of the North, obviously. Here's Ivan, the Watchers of the North. I'm like, yeah, pretty relaxed, calm down. This is what it is. Nobody does the rings, man. Yeah. Yeah. Are the eagles and crows minor characters? Yeah, they are. As I don't develop the eagles and crows that well at all. That's one of my flaws in my book. The eagles and crows are just not developed that well, obviously, because I focus more on Aratat and the humans and all those guys, right? They only have a few scenes and that's it, man. They're not developed that well because they're not really the main plot of the story, right? But in the movie, I'm gonna have them have a bit more scenes, like the Eagles tell Takis and Toys when they're kids stories and all that stuff. That's my idea for young Takis. They tell Takis and stories at night, obviously. Where do they tell them stories, Ivan? I don't know. They're Taki's balcony or at the city's edge. Takis them sitting on the grass, and the eagles fly to the city's edge and tell them stories. Yeah, sick movie. That's not in the book, but I might add that in the movie to make it more interesting, obviously. I will add in the movie to make it more interesting. Yeah. Yeah, man. Why the eagles say, do not let yourself be seen by the wolves? Because it's dangerous, man. That's why they said quickly, like, tell the Southern quickly, like, we're not safe here. We have to get out of here. Yeah, the eagles know they're not safe in the South. They have to just drop the note, let Job and all of them know, and they gotta leave, man. They gotta get out of there, man. They're not safe. They're not from that region. They're northern beings from the north. They're not welcome in Aratat's territory. That's why I said, if you do not let yourself be seen by the wolves. Because the wolves see the humans, they can kill the humans, obviously. Enslave them or kill them, right? It's very rare to see a wolf in the blood value or something like that, but you could spot a wolf. It's dangerous, obviously. And you also have the crows, the wild crows, and you have Aratat spies. The wild animals and the wild crows And air-attack spies, it's dangerous in the South, man. And not safe for the Eagles, right? Ah, your book is sick. I don't know. It was a masterpiece, man. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Get my $15 today with my youngest brother. Yeah. Yeah. So everything I showed you guys impressed? Yeah, we're impressed. Like everything you show us, like we're hooked. I know. That's how you know I'm not lying to you when I tell you Xanus is constant entertainment, man. Like when you read the scenes, you're hooked for hours turning the page. It's crazy, man. Yeah, man. The 800 pages, guys, are gonna fly by when you read it. Oh my God, the book's already done, and it's 800 pages. That felt like a 400, 350 page book. Yeah, because you were hooked turning the page. That's why it feels short, obviously. You're gonna wish, yeah. I wish Ivan wrote like George R. Martin. He wrote like a 1,500 page book. I can read Ivan's book all day. Yeah, you're gonna wish I wrote like a 1,500 page book, which I would never do. That's crazy. Yeah, obviously. What would you peak at for a novel, Ivan? Probably like 1,000 pages I'd peak at. But me personally, I'm the kind of guy whereby if I wrote a fantasy book, I would peak at that like 200,000 word range. Write about a 750, 800 page book. For romance, I peak at maybe 400 or 500 pages. I would never write a 1,500 page book. That's crazy, man. 1,500 page book? That's crazy, man. And you wonder why George R. Martin has writer's block. If he does have writer's block, because he has creative burnout, man. He just exhausted too much information with all these characters. Writing 1,000 page books, 5 book series. I can understand why it's tough for him to finish a series. He probably has creative burnout, man. Yeah. He has too much characters in his book. He has to flesh out. He fleshed out those 5 books. It's tough to finish the series, obviously, right? Oh, I get yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll say then, yeah. Beings from the north, what are you doing here? Whatever it is, I'm saying. Tell the southern quickly. I'm saying, for we're not safe here. I'm saying, your book is sick. I know. Yeah. So the eagle saying that shows, yeah, it shows that the South is very dangerous and they're not welcome in that territory. Obviously, like they took a risk delivering the note to Eli and all those guys. That's why they said quickly we have to send the message and get out of here. It's not safe in the South, but they're in Aratat's territory, obviously Aratat's kingdom. They're not safe there. Samsara. They're not safe there. Yeah, man, they're not safe there. I have 14 smokes. That's enough for today, right? That's why Miller P will tell you it's better than the Rings. Yeah, man. You cracked the code in writing. This is gonna be better than the Rings, but yeah, it's better than the Rings, man. It's a masterpiece, man. You have the scene in the prologue. You have Andy Serkis. He's smoking weed in the city, and you have the eagles flying. You're looking at beautiful eagles in the movie with the CGI technology. They dropped a note, and he's like beings from the north. But I might change the words in the screenplay. But I mean, eagles from the north. Yeah. I decided to say beings. Yeah, beings from the north. Yeah, and they talk to Andy. They're looking at a sick movie, man. You know. So I'll have to be applying the agent technology for Andy Serkis and Jim Monsoon, all those guys, for the prologue. Because the prologue is 30 years before the events of the story. Yeah. Like Job was like a 30-year-old, 28-year-old person in that scene in the prologue. And then 30 years later, he's like in his late 50s. He's an older dude, obviously, right? Job. Yeah. Eli, Cornelius, and all those guys are younger, obviously. Cornelius is younger, dude. Cornelius was a young man in that scene. He's a young dude in that scene, right? Yeah. A younger dude, right? Like 30, 28 years old, whatever it is. Yeah. How old is Job and Cornelius? They're in their like mid to late 50s. I don't really describe their age, but they're in their like 50s, late 50s. Cornelius is like maybe late 40s, obviously. Cornelius was like a teenager when Takis was born, right? Around there, right? He's like a teenager. 18-year-old kid, 18-year-old adult, 19-year-old adult, 20-year-old adult around there, right? He's about late 40s, 50 around there, Cornelius. Yeah. He's an adult in that scene, but he's a younger dude. That's my point, right? Yeah. Was Lithia alive in that scene? No, Lithia is not. Lithia is like was that's around the time she was born in the prologue. Lithia is about the same age as Tactius, maybe a year younger than Tactius. She's like 29. She wasn't even born yet in that scene, right? I don't mention anything about her birth, but she's not. When you read the book, you'll see what I mean. She wasn't born in that scene, obviously. Lithia is like a year like younger than Tactius. I don't really describe her age in the book, but I love the girl Lithia. I don't mind. Lithia's an amazing character in my book, right? Alright, when you went over the prologue today, were you hooked? Yes, I was. I went over the prologue and I added a few stuff as you guys read. Well, you guys don't know what I added because this is a new scene. You guys didn't read it before. I did tweak a few things here and there, but when I went over my book earlier before I made this video, I was hooked going over the prologue. And the prologue is my weakest chapter, guys. And even when I read the prologue, I'm hooked and I'm entertained by it. Because my book is that good. It's a masterpiece, man. Amazing story. It's a masterpiece. Yeah, man. All right, would you ever read a nonfiction book? No. Nonfiction book is like writing an essay. That's boring for me. I'm more into like the novels, right? Yeah. As anyone can write nonfiction. Nonfiction is like writing an essay, so anyone can write nonfiction. That's my advice to all you aspiring authors out there. If you struggle writing a novel, you can transition into writing a nonfiction book if you want, and an amazing nonfiction book, and you can sell a lot of copies. Like if you can't write a novel, but everyone's goal is to write a novel. They want to tell. I want to tell my own story. But fantasy is not easy. Fantasy is a difficult genre to tackle. Obviously, it's not easy fantasy. Fantasy's not easy, man. It's tough fantasy, right? Yeah, not tough for me, but I mean, because I have to have the gift. But fantasy is a tough genre to tackle, man. Because you have to create a fictional world and have your characters in that fictional world feel real and believable, and that's tough. Like you have to create a fictional universe, fictional world. It's all fantasy, right? Hence fantasy, right? Yeah. Magic systems. Yeah. Alright, did you ever thought of doing the cliche story with a farm boy who becomes a prince? No, because I know it's too cliche. There's so many fantasy stories with the farmer boy. He meets the princess and they fall in love and he becomes king and he's a prince. Like I get that, but I stayed away from that because it's too cliche, man. My story is the opposite. You have the prince from the Holy Northern Heavenly Kingdom. He comes down to a different kingdom and he takes on a fake identity and he humbles himself a little bit and he has a fake identity. When he claims to be the prince, no one believes him in that kingdom. Like that's not cliche. That's actually original and it's better, obviously. Xanus is the opposite of the farmer boy thing. It's the total opposite. Tactius becomes a farmer boy. The prince becomes a farmer boy. It's not the other way around, right? But the farmer boy becomes a prince. No. And I stayed away from magic swords too. That's too cliche too. As Tactius' sword does not have powers. It's a special sword in the sense that it's made for the Prince of Xanus, and it has the inscriptions on it, but it doesn't have any powers. Otherwise, it's too cliche. Obviously. People might tell me, Ivan, do you want the sword to have powers? I'm like, no, Peter, no. Otherwise, it's too cliche. No, man, don't do that, Peter. It's too cliche. There's so many fantasy stories about that, right? The magic sword, the farmer boy who meets the princess, he falls in love with her and he becomes king, he's a prince and all that stuff. Way too cliche. With a magic sword, too cliche, man. Too fucking cliche, man. There's so many stories like that, man. Yeah, man. Sarah? Where Xanus is the opposite. You have the prince becoming a farmer boy. It's actually funny. Yeah, it's the opposite. Now that's not cliche, obviously, right? Yeah, that's my point, right? Do the Southerns see the Northerns as people of higher class? Yes, they do. They're from, yeah, these guys are all like, they're higher status than we are. They live in that holy, beautiful heavenly kingdom. We live in the cursed south. That's why they can't believe Taki is the Prince of Xanus, because he claims to be the prince from that like northern kingdom. He's royalty in that heavenly kingdom. Why the fuck would that guy come down here? The Northerns never come here because they fear the wolves. Are not welcome to that territory. And yet Tactius takes on a fake identity as a Syrian farmer boy, and all of a sudden he claims to be the prince, and they don't believe. They think he's an imposter. They throw him in a dungeon. They don't believe him. No one in Savage believes in him except for Lily. Lily has the faith. That's why you're looking at Matthew, man. Yeah. Lily is the only one who has the faith. No one else believes. They can't believe it, right? As you guys read it, right? I cannot believe it. Yeah, they can't believe it. That's why it's an amazing story, obviously. That's what's the greatest novel written when you read it, and the greatest movie ever made. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoy my show. Hope you guys enjoy my final snippets of my book. It's man. I'm signing off. Peace, guys. Xanus. Peace out, guys. I want to hear him, son.